Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Forget about your worries and just strive.
Hi, this is Laura Paxton.
And I'm Jed Shapiro.
And this is
Autism Rocks!
the new show produced, directed, and presented by people with autism, for people with autism, and for the greater worldwide community.
If you like what you see about our show, or you just want to say hello, please shoot us an email at autismrockshow@yahoo.com.
We'll be providing news, informational segments, entertainment, and we'll be having lots of fun.
And we hope you do too.
Thanks.
Let's get on with the show! Yay!
I believe the number one myth about autism is that autism is an epidemic. An epidemic implies a disease, when actually all we have is a neurological difference in our brain wiring. And I'm not a part of a plague, I'm not a part of an epidemic, and I don't like to be referred to that way, and I'm one of millions of autistic individuals who are offended by the use of the term epidemic. And this is a myth that I'm more than happy to bust today.
Okay. The myth that I want to talk about today is there's a perception that autistics are introverted. And I want to let you know that I think that's not true. Because I am very extroverted. I go out and I sing karaoke, I sing as Frank Sinatra, and I interact with my audience, I interact with the other people that I sing with. I've done a lot of acting over the years, and I try and interact with as many people as possible. I go out, I do a lot of things. I try and get myself really involved with other people. And I'm not alone, because the summer I went to Camp Baker that was here in Oregon, and there were a lot of autistics that got up and sang karaoke and interacted with other people, and it was a really great experience. So I just want to say to any of you who's out there who say that autistics are introverted completely, I'm sorry, but it's not true. There's a lot of us out there that are much more extroverted than you think.
One thing that I'm excited to share is that I'm the new director for the West Coast Asperger Women Association. And I made a video recently about the difference in presentation in Asperger women from Asperger men. Our symptoms are often more subtle and more difficult to diagnose. We are good imitators of other people. We imitate their intonation, their dialect, their style, even wording in many cases. And we also may have hobbies that may seem typical, but we have a very much more intense focus, a driven focus, and an all-consuming focus to our interests. We are often bossy as children and line up and organize our toys in such a way that it may actually look more, because women are expected to run and manage households as they grow older. When girls engage in this organized play, a lot of times people don't question it as much as they would a boy lining up trains. But these are signs to look for, and also the social difficulties often appear as passivity, and young girls with Asperger's syndrome, as well as young adults and older adults, are likely to be taken advantage of for their vulnerability. For more information, please do read Asperger's in Girls by Tony Atwood and the other experts on his team. Thanks.
All right. Well, with this segment, it's my own personal segment, and I just want to give to you guys a little piece of my experience with Asperger's. Basically, with me, it has been a very tough experience. I did have some physical problems, balancing problems, that type of thing. hearing problems, and a lot of physical difficulties, some mental difficulties. But on the whole, I realized that this is something that is a part of me. And if it was taken away, I don't think I'd be the same person. Well, I just want to say that my Asperger's, I believe, gives me a lot of strength, but there are also setbacks. I think in terms of my singing ability, my acting ability, my creativeness, I think comes out of the Asperger's because, because it gives me a very intense way of just focusing on one thing and doing it really, really well. Maybe on the verge of obsessive, but the thing is it brings out a very good performance. So I would say to parents and teachers and care providers out there, don't worry. It's not a curse. It's not a disease, okay? It's just a difference in the way autistics think and act. We're just wired differently. So we just need to be taught differently and be shown compassion and love and understanding in the way we think and the way we feel, because we're just like everybody else. We're just a little different.
So, what can you do to help autism awareness? For one thing, if you have autism, you can connect with a support group in your community or an online community such as wrongplanet.net. And you can research and find out more information about your condition and network with other individuals who also have autism spectrum disorders. Another thing you can do is, if you don't have autism, educate yourself on the subject and realize that we are just people with differences, and we're not necessarily, we don't have problems other than the fact that our wiring is different, and we have disabilities sometimes based on these differences. And the more society accepts us, the more you can help. When I was growing up, during Halloween time, during the month of October, our teacher used to read ghost stories to the class. And I was having so many nightmares that I asked if I could sit in another room during story time. The other students would laugh at me, but it was the only way I could protect myself, and I would sit in there feeling all isolated and alone. And then the costumes I would choose, the other children would always laugh at, because I wanted to be a computer one year, and I wanted people to push my buttons so that I could tell them stories and give them information from the encyclopedia. And no one wanted to participate, and all they wanted to do was laugh at me. So Halloween was a difficult time for me as an Aspie female. Other than that, I think that today as an adult it's a lot more fun.
Alright, this is my favorite part of the show, talking about Halloween. Halloween is one of my favorite holidays, and I tend to think it's probably one of the best holidays for autistics. Basically, I have a funny story where basically I took Halloween and I dressed up as several different characters throughout one Halloween night. I dressed up as Doctor Who. I dressed up as Captain Kirk and James Bond and Superman. All four of those all in one night. And it was really kind of strange and kind of odd for all my friends I kept them guessing.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Forget about your worries and just write.